right, my name is Reverend T. I am the unrefined priest, and today we're going to be talking about Zohran Mamdani's new plans for New York City, some of the big policies that he is pushing, and one of the biggest ones is free childcare for all in the city of New York. I know that this sounds amazing. I know that when people hear free childcare, they just go bonkers. They think it's the greatest thing in the world. This has some serious problems attached to it. One of them, or several of them, Matt Walsh is going to bring up. I got a video from Matt Walsh to show you. But I have a bigger problem with this than even what Matt Walsh is bringing up. And I think a lot of his points are valid. But for me, the big thing about this is, why the hell are we punting parenting? Why have we decided that parenting is something I'm not going to do and I'm just going to turn it over to somebody else? This is crazy to me. This is really bad policy. It's going to lead into a very bad place. I'm going to play the clip. Matt Walsh is going to show you a lot of other areas about this. And then I want to talk about this punting of parenting a little bit more, because I think that this is a big problem. I think we are heading in a bad place, and it's not just in New York City. You're seeing this everywhere. So let me cue this up for Matt Walsh. Hey, if you like what I'm doing, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. And let's get on with Matt Walsh here.
Universal childcare is by far the worst of these disastrous ideas. And let's leave aside again the fact that it is catastrophically expensive. There is no such thing as free childcare. You know why? Because the childcare providers are not slaves. You have to pay them. They cost money. And so it's not free and can never be free. I said before that nothing is free. There is one exception to that. Something can be free with slavery. Okay, so if you really want free stuff, then we got to talk about having slavery. That's the only way to do it. You want free stuff, you want to get things for free, you want free childcare, you want free this, you want free that. Well, the one way to do it is slavery. You could even have free buses, maybe, if the bus drivers are slaves and the buses are maintained by slaves. Then you could probably have free buses too. So that's the only way. So when you talk about you want stuff to be free, I can only assume that what you're making an argument for is to bring back slavery. But if you don't want slavery, then there is no such thing as free. So get that stupid word out of your stupid mouth and realize that someone has to pay for it, because we have to pay for the labor that goes into this. All you're doing is shifting the cost. And in this case, rather than having parents pay for their own child's care, you're forcing strangers, taxpayers, to pay for the care of other people's children. Those are the only two options when it comes to childcare. There is no third option aside from slavery. Either parents will pay for their child's care or strangers will. And call me crazy. Call me cruel. Call me a mean old guy who lacks compassion, but I tend to think that if anyone should pay for your child's care, it should be you. If you're sitting there...
All right, that's where I want to pause it there. Look, Matt Walsh is going to kind of attack the cost of this, and he's basically making an argument that nothing is free, and that if it's going to be free for you, that means somebody else is going to be paying for it. And the thing that he brings up is, call me crazy, but if somebody's going to pay for your child's care, then I believe it should be you. Now, I want to push this further and say, if somebody should be caring for your child, that person also should be you. Like, I don't understand why we're so willing to punt the care of our children to another person or another entity. Like, and I'm not just talking out of my ass here. Look, this is what my family actually did. My My first 2 years with our oldest son, I stayed at home and cared for him because my wife was able to make more money than I was at the time. After I graduated and got a job, then that switched and she stayed home and I went to work. And as our kids got older, my wife then started working part-time. And then as they got a little bit older, then she went back to full-time, but working from home. We made sacrifices so that we would be the ones to raise our children, because that matters. It matters to your children. You should be the one to be bringing them up, pouring into them, and creating who they're going to be when they're older, not somebody else that you just punt the job to. If you can't raise your kids, stop having kids. And I know largely our culture has done that. Our culture has said, well, I don't want to raise the kids, therefore I'm not going to have kids. There's a beauty in having kids, but that beauty also comes with the responsibility. And the responsibility is, wow, now I have to bring this human being from an infant to where they can care for themselves and they're an adult. And that is the job of the parent. The family unit is structured in such a way as to enable the family to care for the child. The idea that we're just going to give free childcare to everyone, what that's going to do is increase the number of kids that are in childcare. And you can just run the statistics on this. The kids that are in childcare generally fare worse than the kids that were raised at home. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. I care about my kids more than Miss Susie who works at the childcare. I'm not saying she doesn't care about my kids, but she definitely does not care about my kids the way that I care about my kids. We need to be raising our own kids. This is not something you can just punt, like hiring somebody to clean your house or hiring somebody to make meals for you. And then we just say, well, if I can do all those, then I'll just hire somebody to raise my kids. No, it doesn't work that way. This is the most sacred thing in your life that you've been entrusted with. And it comes with the responsibility of raising your own kids. The idea that raising kids should not cost anything, should not be sacrificial on the part of the parents, tells us that we're in a very bad place culturally as a society. It has always been known that raising kids will come at a cost. The idea that you're trying to do away with the cost by having somebody else raise your kids is nuts to me. You raise your kids. Raise them up in the way that they're supposed to go. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be creating functional human beings that contribute to society, and this matters. And to just punt it off and to say, well, they can do it as good as I can do it, is crazy. And if you're saying that they can't do it as good as you can, then why would you ever be comfortable turning that over? A lot of people are excited about this. And I think a lot of people are excited about this for the wrong reasons. What we are doing is we are sacrificing our children for two incomes. That is what we are doing. We're saying it's more important that I'm able to provide for them financially than it is that I am the one who is walking through the biggest moments in their life. If your child is being raised at childcare, they're going to be making their first steps to a childcare worker. They're going to be saying their first words to a childcare worker. Those big moments in their life that you will treasure for the rest of your life, you won't be there. The childcare worker will. All of these moments that you're going to miss and you're willing to sacrifice it for a paycheck, it's not worth it. If you're having kids, raise your kids. It is the greatest joy in your life. It is something that will bring far more fulfillment than you will ever be able to get at a 9-to-5 job working for somebody else. Trust me. Raising your kids will bring a level of joy and fullness to your life that cannot be replaced. And we are trading in all of that for another income, thinking that if I can provide financially for my kids, that's going to be the thing that matters. You know, the thing that matters is they know that you love them. They know that you're there for them. They know that you would do anything for them. And if you're out working 9 to 5 and they're spending the majority of their day with a nursery worker, you're not able to provide that. And you might kid yourself that you're still able to stand in that role. You're not. You're able to stand in the role if you take the responsibility of raising your children. Do not turn this over to the government. I'm not even going to get into the amount of indoctrination that is going to go into your kids by these state-run or city-run childcare agencies. Oh, I'm not even going to talk about that. Let's just talk about the duty that you have as a parent. And yes, it will cost you. You will have to sacrifice. Maybe you won't have the home that you could have had. Maybe you won't have the cars that you could have had. Maybe you'll have to wait on the next iPhone. All of that is worth it. All of that sacrifice is worth it, and it's what you are responsible for as a parent. Childcare, this idea of turning your kids over, this is bad. This has been bad for a long time. But if we go down this road of everybody gets free childcare, you're just going to see more and more kids being raised by the state rather than by the family. And that I don't think we want to see. My name is Reverend T. I am the Unrefined Priest. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button as well as the subscribe button, and I will catch you on the next one.